Hi everyone, I'm Marina Malin, and this is what I've been doing in art this year. Art has always been a reflective and healing force for me. So my earlier pieces like these were more comfort pieces, art that made me happy during and after the process. However, I always loved the idea of using clothing as the canvas. So this was my first clothing piece that I made. It has sketches of hands representing physical connection. My theme started off displaying what was on the inside, human thoughts, emotions, and reality. However, as my outer world developed in terms of interests and beliefs in finding who I am, I wanted to change my theme to reflect just that, my journey within. 3 ways to describe my theme would be self-discovery, reflection, a journey within, all answering the question of who am I really? During this time of making art throughout senior year, my interest in showing just emotions and feelings expanded from that, as I wanted to portray an actual journey within and help others with that too. I was inspired by the freeing state captured in these photos when your mind, body, and spirit are in harmony. Also, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle inspired this awakening in most of the ideas behind my artwork. This piece is called Silence the Mind and represents the power of disconnecting and de-identifying with your thoughts, a famous concept Eckhart Tolle describes in The Power of Now. For this piece, I used silkscreen, yarn, and charms that I sewed on representing each thought. This next piece is called Toothpaste, representing all the different sides of a person there are, all the different faces we put on relative to the situation, and if we're getting philosophical, the law of one, that every single human being is connected. We are all one, we are all the same, mere consciousness. For this process, I carved out the sketch on linoleum blocks and printed it out onto paper to test it out like these pictures and then on clothing. I played around with the colors and layered them as shown in these pictures. This next piece is called Natural Freedom, representing the flow and free state of one in nature. For this, I used paint on denim. This next piece similarly follows the same idea of the one I just showed that represents the flow state, but of the mind, body, and spirit, when they are all aligned and in harmony with one another. At first, I just used paint, however, I decided to add another layer and use embroidery. I embroidered a hand with flowers growing out of them, representing human connection with nature. So after primarily focusing on fabrics, I wanted to transfer to canvas in attempts to outreach the idea of a journey within. I decided to create a book in order to further share healing concepts. For this is the first page of my book and one of the first pieces that made me switch mediums. For this, I used magazines, colored paper, and Mod Podge. Then I worked around a bit with Photoshop, as seen in this piece that displays moments of mindfulness in my life. And then I worked with wax and caustics to provide backgrounds in my book. These are 4 of my favorites. So the process was that I melted wax on a stove and made patterns with the wax on it. Then I placed my canvas on the stove with all the melted wax, and sometimes I would do it just once or would continue the process and add layers. I provided text over the wax and caustics in order to teach and share philosophical wisdom. These 2 photos only serve as a small portion of the pages on my book. They were all about the chakras. An artist that inspired my work was Mark Rothko. He is heavily influenced by mythology, spirituality, and philosophy. He uses colors to portray light human emotions and paints on bigger canvases to evoke spiritual and emotional experiences. His work really influenced mine because his choice of using bright colors to portray complex concepts in order to bring in light inspired me to do the same. Now my art can be identified by its bright colors. All in all, what art means to me is as a firm believer in introspection, spirituality, and wellness, and that each person is called out to live a human experience for a reason called their truth. With my art, I want to display spiritual wisdom in a universal form so that everyone can find connections and relate. I am learning that in teaching and interpreting spiritual wisdom through my art is my truth. Thank you.